My speech is on if depression can be treated with emotional support animals. Robin Williams once said, "All it takes is one beautiful smile to hide an injured soul, and they will never notice how broken you really are." However, dogs can actually smell emotions. According to the American Psychiatric Association, 87% of dogs and 86% of cat owners say that their pet provides a positive impact on their mental health. I got diagnosed with depression about 5 years ago, and what really helped me get through it was my emotional support dogs. ESAs are scientifically proven to help individuals battling with mental health, such as depression and anxiety. Today, I will cover what an emotional support animal is and does, what depression is, the difference between an ESA and a service dog, and why dogs are the most common and preferred ESAs. With that being said, what is an emotional support animal and what exactly is depression? An ESA can be any domesticated animal that is manageable in public and does not create a nuisance. Some examples of ESAs include dogs, cats, ferrets, birds, rabbits, reptiles, hedgehogs, and believe it or not, mini pigs. Emotional support animals can in fact help treat depression in various ways. According to Mental Health America, 19.86% of adults are experiencing a mental illness, which is equivalent to 50 million Americans. Depression is a mental health disorder that harms how you feel, act, and respond to situations. Some common causes include family history, trauma from early childhood, brain structure, medical conditions, and drug abuse. Symptoms usually vary depending on if you're male or female. Depression is also associated with multiple changes in the brain, such as brain inflammation, restricted oxygen intake, structure changes to the brain, as well as changes in the function and effect of neurotransmitters. According to ESA Care by Anton, neurotransmitters are chemicals that are released at the end of a neural fiber. They are often at the junction where a muscle and a neuron meet and act as messengers between the two parts. However, they influence one's mood, heart rate, and muscle movements, among other things. To simplify this, they act as a key while the receptor site acts as a lock. The next point I would like to discuss is the difference between ESAs and service animals. ESAs provide comfort and mental and emotional encouragement to a specific person, whereas service dogs are trained specifically to perform a task for people who are disabled. Some service dogs could include guide dogs, hearing dogs, seizure response dogs, and psychiatric dogs. Psychiatric dogs are trained to help individuals with mental health disorders and disabilities. ESAs are not the same as service dogs, even though some people think that they are. With proper documents, ESAs can attend college with you in the dorms. They're also allowed in homes that have a no pet policy, and you don't even have to pay rent for them, which is a plus. They're also allowed on airplanes, depending on the airline policy. By contacting your healthcare provider, if you have a mental health disorder, you can be eligible to get an ESA certificate for your pet. Lastly, with all the animals allowed to be ESAs, why are dogs the most common and preferred ESA? According to Telluride Daily Planet, dogs have 600 million smell receptors versus our 12 million. They can actually smell the change of emotions in humans. Dogs are emotion absorbers, which means they can make your energy their own. They can smell the rise and fall of serotonin, which is the brain chemical associated with depression, and cortisol, which determines your anxiety levels. In fact, playing with a dog and even a cat will elevate your dopamine and serotonin levels, which calm and relax. According to Telluride Daily Planet, stress changes the compounds found in human sweat and breath. In the UK study, when presented with samples from humans before and after a stressful mental exercise, 90% of the test dogs could detect which came before and after. When a loyal dog senses a change, they will look into your eyes and gauge your emotional state, what you're thinking, and what you're feeling. Dogs have the highest level of empathy, and they can stabilize your emotions. They may start to really pay attention when they sense that change. For example, some dogs may bow their head or tuck their tail, if they're acting sad. When a dog licks you and you're crying, they're only trying to make you feel better, so don't try and push them away. Some dogs may even start to spend more time with you to distract you from whatever may be going on, and they may even add in a little game of fetch. Some states view emotional support animals differently than others. For example, Montana doesn't view cats as an emotional support animal, but Idaho does. Now let's talk briefly about some other animals. Birds can keep your mind sharp if you're an older adult, as well as encouraging social interactions. On the other hand, snakes, lizards, and reptiles would make a great exotic companion. Even just a fish tank can lower your muscle tensions and lower your pulse rate. I do believe that children growing up with dogs can make them more secure and more active. Caring for a pet can definitely make great changes for your life in a healthy way. They may add a routine, increase activity levels, they may help you meet new people, and they provide companionship. To wrap things up, emotional support animals are great companions for anyone, and especially people struggling with mental health disorders such as depression and anxiety. Today I covered what an emotional support animal is and what they do, the difference between an ESA and a service dog, and why a dog is the most common and preferred ESA. Danny Baker once said, "Depression is living in a body who fights to survive with a mind that tries to die." If this is you, go get yourself an emotional support animal who will give you unconditional love, support, and something to fight for every day. Thank you. Any questions?
Why do you feel that ESAs are not protected like service animals federally?
Because they don't have the training specified for whatever you have that's going on.
Do they get any training?
They
compared to
can.
service animals?
They can if you would like to, but it's not required.
So how do you get one? So like, I assume they wear a vest and like they, that way you can take them around. How do you go about doing that?
Some places will give you a card for them. They don't have to wear a vest if you don't want them to. They're not allowed in as many places as service dogs are because they don't have that training. But I mean, most places you can take them in, and if they ask, you can say they're an emotional support animal and you have a card for them, so you can let them see that, but they're not supposed to specifically ask what they're used for.
Do you feel that some people take advantage of ESAs?
Yes, because most of the time when you go into a doctor's office and you say that you want an ESA certificate or letter, they don't really ask very much about why or what they are going to be used for. Most people just want them because you don't have to pay rent for them and they're allowed anywhere, even if the home has a no pet policy. Anything else?